Okay, how do I discipline my kid? This is the second part. We just went over the first. And here's what's kind of revolutionary but incredibly simple. Just set up a new start. So you kind of just decide whether a behavior is happened for a long time over and over and over, or it's just starting. You just say, hey, child, person, kid, do you know you do this thing? They'll say yes. Do you know this bugs me? They'll say yes, or no, or they don't care. I request that this behavior, that you not do this thing anymore because this, that, and the other. If you continue to do this, here's the consequence. Okay, so it's just a very matter-of-fact conversation. You've gone through all of the part ones before you have this conversation, so you're pretty clear. I need to address it and move forward so that I can stop yelling and be a really angry mom. Okay, so I request, make a request on behavior, and I want you to tell the consequence. Let them know what's going to happen if this behavior continues. Here's what's beautiful about this. They're going to do this again. Just because you've had this set up a new start is not magic. There's no kid on the planet that has ever said, oh, you don't want me to do this anymore? That is revolutionary. I will not do this ever again, okay? What they do is they test it, especially if we haven't been giving consequences, and especially if we haven't been confronting them on things, or not consistently. They're like, oh, really? Okay, I won't do it ever again. And then the next day, they will either forget or they will be testing you just to see. So you'll have to enforce the consequence. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. As the child gets older and older, you're going to set up a new start in a little bit of a different way. So for tweens and teens, I still want you to request a behavior, but I want you to ask them, what's their input? Do they think that's a problem? Do they think it's a weird behavior? Can they see that this is an issue for the family or themselves, or who they can be in the long run, or whatever? What's their input? Because sometimes just when they understand where someone's coming from, the behavior can start to diminish. And what do they think their consequence should be? Ask that. It's very profound when you allow kids to say what they think should happen if they disagree, if they don't follow along with what they've agreed on. Like, oh, I think you should take my phone for a day, when really you would have taken it for like 2 hours. So ask them, what's their input? What do they think the consequence should be? If they say nothing, you can say, really, like, you think this would deserve nothing. What would you do? What would you think if it was your sibling who did that? What should their consequence be? And then, there's ways to work with this. Any consequences that you give should be not punitive and punishing. They should be teaching and explanatory, and like, this is just what happens. So for a little while in our house, we had a problem with getting chores done on time on the day that they should be done. Like, this was between 8th, 9th, and 10th grade. There was just like, maybe I'll do chores, maybe I won't. Chores, I would say, most often were done 3 out of 4 times a month. Okay, who's going to complain about that? But I wanted the 4th time. And I realized that I was so glad that he finally did the chores that I was still giving him his allowance, right? So there's no consequence. Like, if you want to just do chores whenever, then you'll just get an allowance. So I realized my error in this, and I said, hey, if you don't have chores done by 8 o'clock on Thursday night, I will be not giving you your allowance. And ultimately, where we landed was, he would get, if some of the chores were done, like if he started late and some of the chores were done, he would just get like a partial allowance for the things he did, but he would not get the full amount anymore. So there's kind of this natural consequence that happens. What I love about this thought is that it's very similar to adult life. If you don't pay your bills, then you owe more money and you have to pay interest, or you have to, utilities get shut off, whatever. There's kind of a natural consequence to everything. And I feel like the earlier we can teach them this, then the better off we are. This alone is a game changer, but I want to give you a little deeper of information so that you get how to respond to their behavior, because like I said before, they're not just going to do it. When there's a problem behavior, let's take a great example is like a 3, 4, or 5-year-old who's always biting somebody. So you tell them there's a request on the behavior, tell them their consequence. They don't get a say because they're 3. They're going to do it again. Actually, before they do it again, and if you kind of have an idea when they're going to do it, before they do it again, I'm going to catch them being good. Okay, this is called positive reinforcement, which is a fancy term for catch them being good, where you're actually reinforcing, hey, I saw that you were going to bite them and you didn't do that. Or, hey, usually you would go bite them and you didn't bite them at all. I am so proud of you. So they want to be caught being good, and they want to please you, and they want to hear what am I supposed to do to get some accolades around here, and you're catching them being good all the time. And that is so huge. It's huge for the tweens too. When you catch tweens being good, or into the teen years, sometimes in the teen years, if it's harder because we expect that they would be good. But what if we just say, well, here's why I like you. I just like you because you've really overcome some things this week. And I just like you that you have really been persevering, and I'm just so glad you're here right now. I know you're going to leave in a few years, and I just am glad you're here. So any kind of positive reinforcement where they don't have to prove themselves is amazing and awesome, which will deepen any connection. But especially when there is a behavior problem, positive reinforcement is incredibly powerful. Negative reinforcement, this is when the consequences happen. So if I do this thing, this kind of negative thing happens to me. And here's the trick with negative reinforcement. This is just consequences. You have to be consistent. Yes means yes, and no means no. And if you do this thing, then this will happen. That thing had better happen. And that's why we have to be really careful with our consequences, because they will be enforced. And here's the beauty of it. They will not be enforced with a lot of emotion and drama and anger and, oh my God, you did this thing and now I have to take your phone. I can't believe I have to take your phone. It's not like that. It's like, oh, you did this thing. We agreed you wouldn't. I need your phone. It's incredibly calming. It's incredibly powerful. But also, you have got to be consistent. If you're not consistent, it's so bad, because you're teaching them that you don't mean it. And there's a chance that they're going to get away with it, which is almost like a bad behavior on top of, I can't change that behavior. It's almost like when there's a bacteria that's resistant to penicillin because it's been overused. When we are not consistent and there's this like, well, I don't know, then they're always going to gun for, maybe I can get away with it this time. So that's a rough one. Let me just say, if this is you and you're like, oh my God, what do I do about that? Here's what you do. Set up a new start and say, look, I get it. Here's this behavior. I don't always give you consequences. You're like, no, I always get away with stuff. Swear to God, they'll say it. You can say, okay, look, from here on, you're not going to. And I am going to give you this consequence. And I'm not going to yell about it. I'm just going to let you know this consequence is coming. And there may be another consequence coming should you keep pushing me, because they're going to push you. Okay, totally happens. You're good. Don't panic. Here's what's even more powerful. Intermittent reinforcement. It's my last trick up my sleeve, and I want you to have it. This is when you catch them being good, and so you're going to catch them being good like every day for a while. I don't know how long, because I don't know what your situation is, but maybe 3 days of, let's go back to little 3 to 4, 5-year-old biting. Maybe 3 or 4 days telling them how good they are every day. And then on the 4th day, you're like, don't say so much about it. Like, they're going to forget, and they're just going to, like, I'm cool. And then skip a day, and then like, hey, caught you, you're still doing good, not biting, that's awesome. And then you go 2 or 3 days. You're like, hey, you still didn't bite. I cannot, do you know how long this has been that you haven't done any biting? I want to tell you I'm so amazed by you. This is so great. So it's this negative, positive reinforcement that's incredibly powerful. And it works with the teens and tweens for whatever. But ultimately, when we just acknowledge they're good, but let it happen over and over a period of time, then it reinforces it. Okay, this is your part 2. This is a ton of information. We're going to have some things for you to work on, worksheets below. And yes, you can do this. I promise. Don't worry. You're already ahead of the game just by knowing this stuff.